All right, here's your assignment for writing inequalities. We're going to do the whole page. I'm going to change some of the directions, but on the top it says write an inequality for each description. I want you to add solve and graph. So we're going to write them, we're going to solve them, and we're going to graph them. Okay. So I'll help with a few. Number one, 10 times the number increased by 4 is no more than 25. So remember, when we did equations, we can go through and we're going to write down over the word what it actually means. Okay, so we've got 10 times a number, which we don't know what that is. We can make it let's make it R. Why not? So 10 times a number increased plus by 4 is no more than 25. So we'll do 25. So it's no more than 25. Does that mean it could be 25? Yes, it could be 25, so that's partially equal, right? But it's not more than 25. So it's got to be less than 25 or equal to 25. All right? That's the part that we'll struggle with. So now we have to, we know all the parts. Now we just have to find out how to put it together. 10 times a number increased by 4. Okay? So 10 times a number. What's our number? Our number is R. So that takes care of 10 times a number increased. It's our plus by 4. There's our 4. Is no more than, less than, or equal to 25. Okay? At least if you go through and write down on the problem the numbers, the operations, and the inequality sign, you can compare that possibly if you're struggling, as most of us do with this, including myself. You can compare at least the symbols and the signs and the inequality signs that you saw in the problem to the multiple choice answers. All right, so now the additional work that I'm giving you says to solve and graph. So I'm going to do 10R plus 4. 10R plus 4 is less than or equal to 25. First thing we're going to do is we're going to draw our line. Separate the two sides, right? Our variable is the R. That's what we want to get by itself. So we want to send everything else away because that R wants to be alone. So we're going to send 4 to the other side. Don't forget, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Positive 4 and a negative 4, those inverse operations equal 0. So now we have 10R. 25 minus 4 is 21. So 10 times something equals 21. So inverse of 10R, 10 times R, the inverse or the opposite of that is 10. So we're going to divide both sides by 10. And get R is less than or equal to 21 divided by 10, which is 1 and 1/10. Excuse me, 2. 2 and 1/10. Okay. Let's not overcomplicate the solving of them. All right, let's go to number 4, 5, and 6. You have to do number 2, by the way, on your own. Number 4, 5, and 6. Oh shoot, we didn't even graph number 1. So let me graph that real quick. You don't have to do anything crazy on the graph. you can just draw real basic number line. All you have to do is put one number in the middle, which is whatever value you came up with, just 2 1/10. Okay, this is r is less than or equal to 2 1/10. Is it equal? Yes, it is. So that means it's shaded in. But it's not just equal, it's also everything less. And everything less is to the left. Okay? That's all you have to do. Number 4, we're not going to write a description because that's just tough and we're not real good at it. And you won't be tested that way. Instead, you'll be given some descriptions and you just have to read and see. So we're not going to write a description. We are going to solve and graph, because we still need practice on that. Alright, so let's look at number 4. First thing you're going to do is draw the line. Second thing you're going to think about is what wants to be alone. The variable always wants to be alone. He wants to send everything away so he can have some time to himself. The variable right now is a. Remember, we deal with that at the very end, so let's send the constants away. So right now the constant on the variable side is +3. Always do the inverse, which just means opposite, -3 to both sides. That's 0. And 1 minus 3 is -2. So now we have a -5a. -5a is greater than -2. So we've got to get rid of that -5a by doing the inverse operation. What's the opposite of multiplying by -5? It's dividing by -5. So now we have a all by itself. I'm going to write it over here. A all by itself. We're going to divide this by -5. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and so that's actually just going to end up being a fraction of 2/5. Okay, so did anybody recognize something that we talked about, I guess last week, and put in our notes? This right here, and what we had to do right here. I wonder if anybody recognized that. I'm sure somebody did. Anytime we multiply or divide by a negative, we must flip that sign. So right now it's greater than, we have to flip the sign. So it's now less than because we divided by a negative. Okay. So same thing, just draw a little poor man's number line, as I would call it. Put 2/5 in the middle. Don't go crazy. Is it equal to 2/5? No, it's not. So it's not shaded in. It's an open circle. It's not equal to 2/5. It's just everything less than 2/5. You're going to do the same thing for 5 and 6. Bonus. Number 6 is bonus. How about that? Alright. Use the following situation to complete exercise 7. Alright, number 7, it's got an A, B, and a C question on it. I'm going to help you with A and kind of walk you through B and C and then leave the rest up to you. Okay? It walks you through actually writing a two-step inequality. Okay? So this is a good process to use for any time you have to write one. Alright, so it says the school photography club charges $10 for each photo in its annual pet photo contest. The club wants to save $75 of its earnings for a pizza party. The club members also want to have at least $50 left over after the pizza party to pay for other club expenses. So write an expression. We talked about this in class the other day, but I have not online. I may have earlier this year. Write an expression for how much money the club earns by taking P, that's our variable, pet photos. So first let's think, how much is a pet photo? $10. $10 for a pet photo. It must be a good photo. And so we need to write an expression for how much they earn by taking pet photos. Just earn, not spend and all that stuff. What do they earn? They earn $10 per photo, right? Per photo. So if they took 5 photos, how much money did they earn? $50, because 10 times 5. So the P is the 5. The P is the variable. So that is your expression right there. 10p. $10 per pet photo. Alright, so you're going to use that part through the rest of the foot's falling asleep. You're going to use that part for the rest of the problem. B, the difference between the amount the club earns and the amount of the pizza party. So we already know how much the club earns, which is that right there, and it's asking you for the difference, which is a subtraction sign, between the amount the club earns and the amount of the pizza party. $75 was its pizza party. So what's the difference in how much they earn and how much the pizza party was? That's going to be, I can tell you this, it's going to have this in it right here. Okay? It's going to have that in it. And the difference of that and the pizza party. Then C, you're going to write a two-step inequality for finding the smallest number of photographs that need to be made to pay for the club's pizza party and have at least $50 left over. Okay? So at least tells you what sign to use. You're going to use this right here, which you came up with there, and the sign of at least, and they want at least $50 left over. Okay, you're not solving it, you're just writing it. And this is here to help you to write it. Okay, you can follow those steps almost every time.